All right, here we are. It is episode number 21 of the Street Parking Coaches Roundtable. We are back. I think we missed a week last week. We went a little bit longer. So here we are. I feel like it's been a really long time since I've sat here, had a couple specialty kind of episodes in between, but we're back with another Ask Us Anything episode, and we put up some posts in the Street Parking Members Facebook group, the Street Parking Members Instagram, and our public Instagram to gather some questions from you all that we're going to answer today. We're also going to be taking questions live from anyone that is here in the comments. Nicole is watching the comments, and if a question pops up, she will feed it over to us unless it's inappropriate or not off topic. I guess off topic is fine. So we'll answer as many questions as we can while we're here. So Nicole, what do you got? Do you got like some sort of rapid fire situation to start us off, or how are we going to kick this off today?
Of course I do. So across from left to right, we'll start with Alex. Coffee or tea, light or dark roast?
I should probably use this. Coffee, light roast.
Coffee, more of like a medium roast.
Yeah, right now I'm in the coffee medium roast for sure.
I have not drank coffee in over a year. I'd start every morning with a cup of black tea, and then right here I got some matcha.
Fancy.
Do you want a cookie?
Yes.
Okay, did anyone play a sport growing up? And if so, what was your favorite sport growing up?
Yeah, I played a lot of sports. I think I did best with soccer, but I had the most fun playing volleyball.
You're too short for that. Hockey until I was 7. That was the end of my sporting career. Dance and cheerleading through junior high and high school.
I did soccer when I was younger. I mean, I actually played all sports, but I enjoyed soccer the most when I was youngest. And then in high school, I would say out of all the sports, baseball was the most fun because there was like less pressure involved. And
You're also a very good wrestler in high school.
yeah, but that was like that wasn't enjoyable.
She didn't ask if you enjoyed it. She just asked if you did it.
Yeah, I did a lot of sports. But the enjoyable ones were baseball. It was just fun.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I played all the sports when I was like really little, like basketball, baseball, soccer. I actually really enjoyed wrestling. That was one of my favorites. Did some cross country and skiing. I think skiing was one that I love
Grow
skiing.
up in the mountains. This is what happens.
Water skiing's the thing where I'm from.
Do you want a cookie?
Follow-up question for Miranda. What kind of dance?
Oh, I mean, any sort of dance. I was just in like a dance group, like through like elementary, junior high, and then in high school it was like straight up like competitive cheerleading. Like we had boys on the team, we were doing stunts and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Dance group. What kind of songs were you dancing to? Let's date ourselves.
Oh, I mean, we did a whole like production to Lion King, like stuff like that. Yeah, there was like always the Christmas pageant concert thing, that kind of stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's go from Jeb across the other way. What is everyone either reading or listening to right now?
Wow. Okay. So I'm actually on a like fiction kick, which I haven't read in years. So I'm reading The Sirens of Titan by Kurt Vonnegut right now. And I'm listening to a collection of short stories called Exhalation.
Nice. Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Just wrap that up actually, which is pretty good. And then as far as listening to, I just kind of go back with, like a podcast that talk about the economy and stuff. Just waiting for that market crash, Robin Hood.
Cool. Oh my gosh. I just started listening to again a book by I think it's David Levy called You're Invited, as we start to have some street parking meetups coming back around, how to make those extra special for the members. And it's all about like creating special moments and building authentic relationships with people. So it's really good. And then I was reading a book that ever since I've been pregnant, I stopped reading. It's called, I can't even remember. It's been like a month and a half ago because I'm just too tired at night for that.
I actually just finished a book called The Silent Patient. I can't pronounce the author's last name, so I'm not even going to try. I know his first name's Alex because that's easy to remember. That was really good. It's like a suspenseful fiction book, and I highly recommend it. It was super easy read. I'm also reading A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. That's a great one. And listening to The Power of Moments.
So good.
Who's the author? Do you know?
Chip and Dan Heath.
Nice. Yeah, that one's great too.
Okay, last question. If you could be either an amazing player of an instrument or have this beautiful singing voice, what would it be?
I think I'd rather have a beautiful singing voice because I could take it with me wherever I was.
Nice.
I would have to say it depends on the instrument, but I'd probably go instrument because I feel like you can play an instrument and still be in the background of a situation where if you're going to start singing, you're like demanding all the attention, which might seem weird coming from me, but that's not something that I super enjoy all the time.
What instrument?
Piano is really cool, and I did learn piano when I was younger. I just haven't played it for a really long time. Or I think another instrument that's really cool is a guitar because you can take it more places.
Very cool. Julian?
Yeah, I would second Miranda, same thing on that one. I play the instrument, and I would go with piano and then guitar. You just get so when someone's really good at playing an instrument, you just get really, especially those two, just get sucked into it, and you just you can listen to it for hours. Whereas a singing voice can get annoying, and then you just have to watch their faces, and you're just like, ugh. So anyway,
That's a really good question. I think just based on Caroline and I recently have been practicing our singing together, and it's been a lot of fun.
dropping an album.
We need this
Yeah,
on
we're
film.
yeah, we might need to talk to
Selfie.
you guys about a
Can
tour.
you go film that because that's a new extra program that we need.
Are you guys like harmonizing?
We're working on it.
Wow.
So I think right now, like I think I would go towards the singing voice.
Right on. All right, let's get into
They're
some
so random,
of
guys.
the members' questions then. Okay, Christopher asks, what is a good movement to sub for battle ropes?
Like if you want to use battle ropes, how do
Yes.
you add them in?
Well, it says
Is
to
that-
sub in battle ropes. Yeah, so
Sub
say-
in battle
Yeah,
ropes.
so instead of say doing a push up and we say go ahead and do a handstand push up, they want to use their
Right,
battle
right,
ropes.
right.
When would they do it?
Yeah, so whether it's battle ropes or any other, maybe equipment that you have that's not as common that we don't write into the customizations or the programming, the first thing to do is just look at what kind of stimulus does it provide and what muscle groups are working and how do you feel basically when you're doing it. What's the motion most similar to? I think for battle ropes, one of the ones that we've given members a suggestion a lot is double unders. Because the double under, if anybody has done those and is good at them, it's a very shoulder intensive thing. I feel like the shoulders for a lot of people become just as much of a problem as the jumping portion of it does. And then obviously it's going to really increase the breathing and the heart rate and all of that stuff. So that's one that I would for sure suggest for battle ropes. Do you guys have any other ones?
I would definitely, that was the first thing that came to my mind was double unders. I think that depending on the workout, if the intervals were short, the stimulus from an assault bike is also,
Yeah.
if you're doing like going hard on the assault bike, similar to battle ropes. And just to plug also, I don't think it's unlocked officially, but there is a newsletter that we put together on how to incorporate some things like that into your workouts.
Julian, what are some of your favorite books about either sleep or fitness or nutrition?
I mean, I would say the sleep book, I would think the only one that you would need to go to, because anything after that, now you're really going deep into like the science of sleep, which is you can go down a rabbit hole with a lot of these things. But I think Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker is a really good book to listen to. And I think that after I read that one or listened to it, it just kind of gave me a really good understanding of the importance of sleep. Anything more than that, like I said, is just going to be like, because you're fascinated by more studies by it, but it's all going to come down to saying the same thing this book does. Nutrition, Miranda was the one who introduced me to Gary Taubes. which I thought I really agree with his method with approach to nutrition. There's a gray area that you have to understand a little bit when it comes to the workouts that we do. Without getting too deep into it, it's just the carbohydrate aspect of it. And then as far as fitness goes, I don't think I've really read any fitness books. But yeah, that's it. That would be my tips for those areas.
My all-time favorite nutrition resource, just because she covers a lot of different topics but keeps it very, very digestible, is not a book. It's a friend of mine who has a podcast. The Optimize Me Nutrition is her Instagram, but I think the podcast is the Consistency Project. And because a lot of these books and things like that are written by doctors or scientists or whatever, they're going to go super deep into it, which if you can comprehend that and you can stay like interested in it, that's great. But for a lot of people, they just get kind of lost in the science. So she not dumbs a lot of that stuff down, but she simplifies a lot of it and gets to the point and gets to the information that you actually need in short, like 20, 30-minute podcasts, which are really good.
Right on. Alex, question for you. For a bent over row, this is Wendy, says that they always sub bent over rows for pull-ups. Is it better to do more reps, less weight, or less weight, more reps?
I think the ultimate goal is to do the reps that are written in for pull-ups for that workout. So then you would adjust your weight according to however many pull-ups are written in. So if it's 12 pull-ups in a workout and the goal is to do 12 bent over rows, you can read through the coach's notes and see how we are suggesting you guys break it up. If it's supposed to be an unbroken effort, if it's supposed to be done in 2 or 3 sets, then you can make your weight choice based on that information.
Nice. Okay, this question is for everyone. They're asking, what is your favorite type of shoe to work out in? I'm sure you all might have a different answer. So let's start with Jeb and go across.
Honestly, I don't really have a favorite. I think as long as there's kind of a minimal heel, then I'm good to go. So like I just pretty much go with whatever has kind of been available for me. Like recently I got a discount on some Metcons from this guy right here. So I wear Metcons, but that's kind of the only reason why. I stopped in the high heels. I went for a slightly lower.
Only when they're practicing singing does he wear the high heels.
That's right.
I think the shoe, I don't have a favorite one. I think it all depends on what you're doing for the day. I think that the different brands, I haven't felt like one brand nails it all, to be honest. For running, like I don't really enjoy like the Metcon or the Noble. It gets really frustrating, right? And being out on the road, where I might enjoy more of like a Nike Free in that situation, especially if the weight is more of a body weight or lighter weight workout, something that doesn't really require like such a stable base, right? But if you're moving towards like medium weight to heavier, then I want a little bit something more grounded and that moves my foot a little less. So I mean, you could always sometimes, you could use some Converse, some Vans. I mean, I'm telling you, like it depends on what it is, but I just don't have a one good shoe. You know what? Which one was the good shoe? The first Nano. The first Nano 2s, yeah, were literally the ones that I feel like nailed it. And then after that, no, but they were just so functional. And then after that, they just got ridiculous.
If you've watched my personal Instagram in the summer months, I've almost exclusively been wearing no shoes. So that's always a great option. I have really flat feet. And I know that training barefoot can actually help train the muscles in my feet and stuff a little bit better. Obviously, if I'm riding the bike or if I'm running or doing too much jumping, I won't go barefoot, but I've been going barefoot a lot, which I really like, especially even when I'm like squatting and stuff like that. I like the Nike Metcon Frees, which are like a hybrid of the Metcon, but they're a little bit less stiff and they're the Frees. That's what I've been wearing the most lately.
Yeah. If I'm working out at home, it's 9 times out of 10 barefoot. And then I have like a pair of I don't even know what kind of shoe, like what they are. They're Nikes. I know that. Really my only like criteria is that my feet don't shift around. As long as I feel like super sturdy and secure, I'm happy.
Right on. Jeb, what is your opinion on supplements? Are they necessary?
The short answer to that is no.
Milk only.
That's it. Just get yourself some milk. And you're
Gallon
good
of
to
milk
go.
a day.
Yeah, so I saw some questions on, supplementation and specifically like pre-workout or BCAAs and things like that. And the thing that I think a lot of us look for, and even a little bit maybe with like the shoe question and stuff, is like, what is these external things that I can do that's going to help me kind of cut some corners or get a little edge? And the first place you need to look is like your regular kind of go-to habits. And so for supplements, it's how is your nutrition, how is your sleep, and how is your hydration are kind of like a big 3 places to start. And then it goes down to the list, like stress and things like that. So I would say all in all, supplements are really not necessary. Now, protein and creatine are probably the 2 most researched supplements out there. And I actually take both on a daily basis, but I take that kind of on top of my nutrition that I know is already dialed in. So if your nutrition is dialed in, then yeah, the protein is great, for after workouts and things like that. And it helps to prevent muscle wasting and that sort of thing. Now BCAAs, if you want to get the benefit of BCAAs, it's like you have to drink 20 grams of them in the middle of a lifting session, really. You're not going to drink that in the middle of like a street parking daily workout. So yeah, you can use BCAAs to actually build more muscle than you would with regular protein, but you have to drink so many of them. It's like 4 times what the dosage is on the bottle. So I'm not recommending that you do that. And then pre-workout, I would not recommend pre-workout. I don't think it's necessary. Maybe drink a cup of coffee or something. But like if you're drinking 300 milligrams of caffeine before you go do a street parking workout, it's like, it's not a pleasant feeling. And typically those have a lot of other weird chemicals and things like that in them. So I would just, keep it real simple, stick to the basics, dial in your nutrition and your hydration.
Yeah, I saw actually that same person that I was talking about for nutrition. She did a post recently about pre-workout, I think, and she was talking about how the energy that you get from the pre-workout is the caffeine that's in there. All the other stuff that's listed on there that's supposed to help you, like, hype you up for your workout, like, the energy is actually coming from that little boost of caffeine, and now you're just paying a ton of money for what you could have gotten in a 50-cent cup of coffee, basically. And I think a lot of times, because I've known a lot of people that really think that pre-workout helps them, I think it's more of a mental shift. Like, they drink their pre-workout and it's almost like turning on the playlist. Like, it's like, okay, now my brain associates this flavor or this drink with it's time to work out. And I totally get that. Just, you don't need to be spending so many dollars. Like, you can figure out other ways to like make that mental shift, I think.
What is the best time of day to work out?
Go for it.
The time that will allow you to stay the most consistent.
Nice, Alex. Nice.
Do you guys have a regular time of day that you each work out?
Yeah, I mean, I know the 2 of us, we work out usually at 4:00 with the rest of the crew, and it works well for us. I prefer working out earlier. I prefer working out more at like 11:00. The problem with that is it's like, now do I like get dressed and ready and then work out and then get dressed and ready again? And it's like this awkward, like, or do I not shower now until nighttime? It messes up my job and my work and just the flow. So I would much prefer to work out more in the middle of the day. I'm usually pretty tired when we start working out at 4, but it is the time that I am going to be most consistent and I don't have to like create all these workarounds and stuff. I would love to be a morning workout person too. And I think maybe after my children are sleeping through the night and they're a little bit older, that I'll try that again. 'Cause that's another time of day where you're going to have the least amount of interruptions and the least likely to miss it.
Do any of you coaches practice martial arts? And if so, how do you work in the training? This question is from Justin.
Yeah, I do. I what are you guys laughing at? So right now I do jiu-jitsu Monday through Thursday in the mornings.
And you just got a stripe, right?
I did. I just got a stripe on my belt. I was very happy. Yeah, and so then I get my street parking workouts in the afternoon or midday, and throughout the week it's a little bit kind of wherever it fits with my schedule, and my schedule is always changing a little bit. So
All right, this question is from Jennifer. Box jumps, hop overs, any jumping is hard and almost impossible. Do I keep doing skip overs forever or go super slow and not hit my goal times?
I would say it depends on why it's hard and almost impossible. If it's painful because you have some sort of former injury or something like that, then I would stick with the skip overs and stick with the step ups and, maybe work to where you're able to jump over your dumbbells or jump over a bar or things like that. Because there are benefits from being able to, from a coordination and balance and stuff like that standpoint, of being able to jump off of both feet and land on both feet for sure. But aside from that, if it's not like a pain thing, if it's just like, hey, this is something that I'm not super comfortable with, I don't feel coordinated, or it's hard for me because it's not something that I've ever done in my life, then I would say to keep working on it. Again, maybe start in the workouts where it's just a jump over the dumbbells or a jump over the barbell. When box jumps or things like that are programmed, find something low that you can jump over, or stack a couple plates that are maybe even just only 10, 12 inches, and start by, even if it's like it's a little skip takeoff, but you're landing on both feet, work toward being able to jump if it's not something that's painful for you. And then if you're like mentally, I'm too exhausted for this and I just want to do the workout and kind of mentally check out, then go back to the skips or the step ups for that, and know that you can always come back to it later.
Nice. We have a question from Mary, and she's trying to lose body fat on the fat loss template. Is it better to watch the starchy carbs and focus on other carbs instead?
So one of the cool things about the template is that your portions take into account how many actual carbohydrates, like the actual macronutrient, is within that weight amount of food or that volume of food. So however much, 20 grams of potatoes is going to be the same as whatever, a quarter cup of blueberries, however it lists it out on the template itself. Again, kind of like I mentioned with the workouts, well, if you find that you tend to want to overeat starchy carbs, then maybe that's a consideration you can make, and then you choose other carbohydrate sources. If you feel like you're getting hungry often throughout the day, it could be, and you are eating starchy carbs, they tend to have less volume than like fruits or something like that. So then we would recommend going with a higher volume option to keep you fuller longer. And again, it's all about sustainability and consistency, not because one is better than the other, though.
Yeah, keep in mind that the goal with the templates is to teach you a way of eating that's forever. So taking out starchy carbohydrates in an attempt to lose weight faster is going to be temporary. So use the template the way that it's designed, and it has those built into it in good portions for a reason. So try not to overthink it and just stick to those. And the consistency in doing that is more important than trying to speed up the process.
From Holly, how many weeks do you recommend doing the starting strength program initially? I'm on week 4 and have been consistent with 3 sessions per week.
So I would definitely read the description of the program on there, and it will give you some guidance as far as how far you're going to take it. But basically, you should be taking a deload week every 4 to 6 weeks, right? And that's just basically you're still showing up and you're still doing the movements. You're just doing it with very light weight. Give your body a chance to reset. And then hopefully you're probably getting to a place right now where you're going to fail one of the sets of one of the movements, and that's when you start back over. So I would just encourage you to go to members only and read the description of the program, and that will give you some guidance as far as how best to decide for yourself when you need to be taking a break or starting back over on a particular lift and that kind of thing.
Miranda, how will the first 6 weeks postpartum, how are we going to do that this time around?
I'll probably do it the same as what I did last time, where I spent a lot of time. I mean, it got a little bit chaotic here at work during that period, but I like doing the stay in bed as much as possible after a week or so, going for some really short walks and getting outside in the sunshine and taking baby outside. It'll be colder here this time. It'll be in February, early March. So we'll see. But yeah, I think, it's always surprising for people to see how chill I do take the first, 4 to 6 weeks. And then we'll see how the rest of the birth goes and the actual labor and everything for where I go from there. But I really enjoy that special alone time with a new baby, and I don't ever want to rush those moments because you can never get them back.
This question is actually from one of our coaches, Seb, for Miranda and Julian. He wants to know how confident on a scale from 0 to 10 each of you are going to feel about your respective teams winning this challenge.
Well, you just kind of get used to the overconfidence of other teams. And so you just kind of focus on 1 week at a time, not peacocking pre-challenge, during the challenge. You just finish it off nice and strong. I staying focused on my team. I'm feeling pretty good about it this year.
I would say that the Palomas live their lives as winners. It's not like a 1 month out of the year thing. So that's just who they are. Challenge or no challenge. It's no different. Nothing changes for us.
I believe the question was on a scale of 0 to 10.
All right, moving right along. Miranda, how do you prevent fitness boredom?
Yeah, I saw this question and I'm really glad that you asked it. I have a 2-part answer to this question. Part number 1, which is might seem more useful than part number 2, but part number 2 is really the most important takeaway. Part number 1 is find something small to focus on for a period of time. And that doesn't mean you're going to be working on it every single day. But this is why I love the extra programs that we provide on the Street Parking Members Only site. So the push-up program, the pull-up program, the 20-rep squat, starting strength, even sandbag summer that we did, or the Oli EMOMs. Pick one of those and be like, I'm going to do this program and I'm going to complete it, and that's going to be kind of my little mini focus. And yeah, I'm still going to be doing the regular workouts, or I know these guys just did the 5K program and they really enjoyed it. Salvi doesn't even want to test his 5K because he doesn't want it to be over. Because it gives you just one thing to hey, I'm working on improving this one aspect of my fitness, and you get to see results in that area, and you have your specific thing that you're following. And changing that up, maybe you did the 5K and then you take 2 weeks off and now you're doing dumbbell strength, and then you take 2 weeks off and then you're working on your push-ups. So something like that to add in, I think really helps. Part 2 is stop expecting your workouts to be a form of entertainment. This is not a movie theater. This is not it's the same thing that people do with their food. How do I prevent boredom with my food? And there are things you can do and ways that you can prep it and things like that. But I think as a society, we expect everything to be exciting and entertaining all the time. And the way that these fitness programs are marketed to us actually makes that worse. Where I use the example every episode of this show, but we don't expect our nightly flossing and brushing to be exciting. There's no podcasts about how can I spice up the flossing, it's daily maintenance. We're taking care of our bodies. It's not something that we should expect to always be super, exciting that way, I guess.
I want to jump on that one too, actually, because another thing that's so important is we talk about this, fitness is definitely a mood. And the more you're able to allow, the more you're able to invest in certain equipment to kind of add to your, your garage. Obviously, dumbbells, kettlebell, sandbag, because that's an investment for life. Get good equipment that's going to last you the test of time, and then you'll be able to customize, and then the freedom becomes even greater. Because let's just say you're over dumbbells, which does happen. Like, man, I just don't want to pick up a dumbbell. It's easy to just grab a sandbag and then be excited about that, and then get into a flow. And then next thing you know, you might do 5 sandbag workouts, and then that kind of gets rid of that hate for dumbbells in that moment that you had it, and then you'll go right back to it. Then throw in a kettlebell, then you expand it, throw in. So I would say do your best, and obviously I don't know what people's financial situations are, but do your best in knowing that what that's going to do is you're investing in yourself. That is one of the greatest forms of investing, and to just definitely build on that, on your just garage gym equipment and the amount of money you save in general, not feeling like you have to go and buy a membership here and take classes here and take classes there. It's just going to pay off, because then you'll get into a really good mood and you'll understand that feeling of, oh, okay, I'm just going to go here, and not overthinking it. This is your journey. You don't have to worry about what this person's doing, what this person's doing, what this person's doing. Just go based off how you feel, and just get your movement in over anything.
Alex, the people have noticed the abs were popping lately after seeing the side-by-side of a recent vault workout, and wanted to know, what is your secret? What have you done differently?
Just
They be
tanning.
popping.
Lots of supplements.
So many supplements. No, I just am not eating quite as much as I was eating. I just wasn't really paying as much attention. So I'm really diligent about eating a protein, a fat, a carb, and a vegetable pretty much at every meal. And I think my portions were just getting a little bit, I was just being like really laissez-faire about it. And then decided to stick more true to the template serving portions, and have been doing that for a couple months now. And it's
Probably the
out
bro
well.
sessions, to be honest.
Probably
I
definitely
mean-
bro sessions.
Yeah. I changed it up after the bro sessions.
Okay.
But yeah.
A good follow-up question is from Could Be Reading. Generally, how many months after starting a template does it take to notice a change in your body composition?
I guess it depends on how you're measuring that. And there's not going to be one specific answer that's like the true answer for everybody. I know a lot of people, it takes them a little bit to adjust, because they feel like it's so much food at first, and they have a hard time adjusting to it, and it takes them a while for that. So there's not one specific answer to that. Yeah, I mean, the consistency is the most important part, and I think people need to be really true and honest about how consistent are you actually being. Are you eating template and weighing and measuring it precisely Monday through Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday it's like a little bit loose, and then you are a couple weeks in and you're wondering why you haven't lost 30 pounds. You know what I mean? Again, going back to like how fitness and nutrition and these things are marketed, we're led to believe that it should be an overnight thing, and that it should be easy, and that's just not true. So depending on where you're starting from and how different this is for you, and the period of adjustment, the answer is going to be totally different for different people, and also like your genetics and that kind of thing too. So
Yeah, and then like it's not all just about nutrition as well. Then it's like how you're sleeping. Do you live a very stressful life? Those are huge factors, especially like I know for me, I could be eating very consistent, but then if I'm not sleeping, especially when the boys go through this like no sleep stage, I feel it. I feel sluggish. I feel heavier. Then I start randomly, mindlessly eating more like another handful of something like chips or carbs, and that just really builds on itself. And then you feel it. So it's not just nutrition. That's one thing. It's tough to get those questions, because it's like if we're not a fly on your wall, and we can only give general advice, not keeping into account what your lifestyle is. So yeah, that's a tough one.
And then kind of going back to how are you measuring it? Are Are you actually going and having your body composition tested, or are you looking in the mirror and thinking, I don't see a difference, which is going to be tough to see day to day, you know what I mean? Because we see ourselves all the time. Are you taking photos? Are you taking measurements? I would suggest having more than one way of measuring, and definitely looking in the mirror is probably the worst way, because we're our own worst critics and it's hard to see those small changes. So, and then just keeping in mind too that the template, whether it's template or just palm method or just adding in more veggies and water and fruit, it's not just about your body composition. So I always tell people, like, would you eat this way if your body composition was never going to change? Like, you should be doing it for health reasons and for energy reasons and to feel better as well. So it's important to latch on to those ideas and not just think of results as only the changes that your body's making.
If someone's considering competing, whether it be a local event or a bigger event, can we claim SP as our gym? I know you're not an affiliate, but
I mean, if you want to put street parking, yeah, we have a lot of members that wear like street parking tanks and t-shirts and stuff. If when they go do local competitions, that's awesome.
Jeb, this one's for you from Megan. Aside from maintenance, are there other recovery tools that are better to use than others? Theragun, ice, heat, etc. Are any of these better for certain body parts or after certain movements or workouts?
Wow. Okay, so are some recovery tools better than others? Yes. I think that recovery, just like everything else, just like fitness programs and nutrition programs, like there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of like fancy tools, there's a lot of these, big, those things that go on your legs, and compression, which are amazing, by the way. But like, I think that if you are approaching your training properly and you are consistent with recovery, you should be fine with pretty basic stuff. Maintenance is great because it takes your joints through a full range of motion. It promotes blood flow. It will help you reduce stress. And it will actually strengthen your body, strengthen your soft tissues and things like that as well. When you start getting into there was like muscle scraping and stuff like that, I really don't think that 99.9% of the people that would be watching this need anything like that. Ice is a controversial one because you can find whatever study you want to support whether or not ice is effective. Personally, I love to take a nice ice bath or a cold plunge because it feels good. It wakes me up. It does actually promote some circulation. How much it reduces inflammation, who knows? So if there's things that you like and they help you feel good and they allow you to carve out a little time for yourself to just focus on recovery, then awesome. Go for it. The STEM stuff, I would say, unless you have probably somebody that really knows what they're doing and is working with really high quality equipment, it's not all it's cracked up to be. And just because you feel your muscle like twitching and stuff doesn't actually mean that it's doing a whole lot in the way of recovery. So I would just say, to answer that simply, just keep it simple, and some regular stretching and sort of slow static strengthening type things should be all you really need.
Follow-up question. Brianna wants to know if we will have any more yoga/mobility videos coming soon.
Glad you asked. Yes, we are working very hard right now on putting together quite a bit of new content for you guys. Everything from those like little tune-ups that you can just kind of do on your own, to short videos where you follow along, to complete practices, targeting some different areas and things like that. So there's a lot of really good stuff coming.
Blake has a question about working a graveyard shift. Is there anything to keep in mind? Low energy, motivation, hindrances to fitness. What's a good way to plan your fitness when working a graveyard shift?
For that, it's tough, right? Because we've already brought up like 3 times like how important sleep is, and when you're a graveyard worker, whether that's consistent graveyards or you're somebody who works like these 48-hour shifts and then you're off for however many hours and it's not consistent when you sleep, like it's different all the time. It does mess with that whole like circadian rhythm and your sleep cycles and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like what Alex said when somebody asked, when's the best time to work out? You just got to figure out what works best for you and not expect to always be hitting PRs or feeling like you're going to go in and crush it. Sometimes just keep the clock off and just move and plan your food. We get this question a lot about like meal timing, like, well, my dinner's technically breakfast, and stop thinking about the day in the way that most people do, where like 6 a.m. is morning and 10 p.m. is nighttime. If that's not your schedule, then it's not your schedule. If you wake up at 10 p.m., then your breakfast is at 10:30 p.m., you know? So try to schedule it for your rhythm and your cycle, which is tough if it's not always the same. But know that working these habits in the best way that you can, drinking the water, getting the best sleep that you can, getting the movement in, doing the stretching, eating the veggies, is such a better option than just saying, well, I'm not getting good enough quality sleep and I feel tired in my workouts, so they're crappy, so I'm just going to give up completely. Just do the best with what you have.
Yeah, and also like when one component of your well-being is thrown off, then the other components become a lot more important. And so for somebody that is sleep deprived essentially, or sleeping at very odd hours, then one of the best ways that you can still regulate your body and your hormones and the way that it just does all its processes is by maintaining consistency with your workouts. So just consistency with everything else is crucial if sleep is kind of taken off the table.
We have a question from YouTube. What is the global goal or direction behind the workouts on a day-to-day programming basis?
I would say fitness. So yeah, the goal is to allow you, or to help you guys maintain general fitness in a short amount of time with, for many of you, a very small amount of equipment. And so general fitness is that we do some pulling motions from different planes, and we do some squatting, and we do some, pressing from different planes so that your body is well-rounded and strong in all of the different motions that it might be required or asked to do, and the joints are strong and stable and healthy, and we're getting some cardiovascular work or cardiorespiratory work in there, and your heart rate's up and you're sweating, and we use intensity so that the workouts don't have to be as long and you get a lot more out of them, and there's a lot more bang for your buck in those short workouts. Yeah, and there's definitely the programming is definitely very thought out from workout to workout and week to week and everything like that. There's a whole episode that we did of Coaches Roundtable about that. That was one of the earlier episodes. And there's a write-up about the street parking recipe on members only in the Unlocked series. So I won't spend the next 30 minutes diving into all of that. But street parking is built for general fitness. It's not a sport specific thing. If you want to add some more specificity to it, those extra programs are great for that.
Do you have any tips for a self-proclaimed chubby lady who wants to learn to run longer than 60 seconds at a time?
Yeah, so if you literally want to run for more than 60 seconds at a time, then set yourself a goal of less than 60 seconds. Maybe it's 20 or 30 seconds. And run for that amount of time, and then do that again. And think about how much time you're resting in between those little running intervals, and essentially just try to shorten that rest. I think a lot of times people, and it's whether it's endurance or it's weightlifting or it's whatever, we have a goal that's up here, and then we just want to go right there. Do what you can do right now, and then add like 1 second or 5 seconds to it, right? And then once you get where you can do that, and then you can do that and only rest 10 or 20 seconds and do it again, and then do it again, and then you add another 5 seconds of your running, and you'll get there. But I would say just take it piecemeal, like really small little increments, and slowly reduce the rest, and you'll be fine. Be patient and consistent, and you'll get it.
Also, another question to ask yourself as well is your goal to work on your cardio? Because there's different methods than just running. The reality is the heavier you are, the more impact your joints are going to take when you're focusing on running. So that's why it's like, is running, because that's like the only form of what people think cardio is. Because if that's the case, then I would suggest that you maybe look into an alternative, maybe get the weight down a little bit with consistency in your nutrition, and then approach the running. Because I mean, the amount of people that just, okay, I'm going to get fitter, I'm going to start running, but then it's not even like their cardio that holds them back. Then injuries start setting in, and that's sad, because then they think that the only way they can get into cardio shape is by running. So that's another question I will throw back at you, is to know that there's alternatives to just work on your cardiovascular system than just running. So
I think this is a great question too, because whether it's 60 seconds or how do I run a whole 5K without stopping, there's like we learned a long time ago when I've not a good runner. Like, yeah, I can run better than the average human walking around in the US. But in general, like in my fitness, it's one of my least favorite and probably weaker things. So when I was really spending a lot of time working on running, I learned that there's the cardiorespiratory ability, but there's also you being able to be on your feet for that long. Now, obviously, the 1 minute example, I'm assuming this person doesn't have a hard time walking for more than 1 minute, but we used to practice going just even for hikes. So with Jeb's example, maybe you run for 20 seconds and then instead of stopping, continue walking for 40 more to get your body used to moving for that amount of time. And so if you're trying to work on running a 5K without stopping, maybe you run 400 meters and then you walk 400 meters and then you run 400 meters. So it's not just, well, as soon as I can't run anymore, I'm going to stop and actually like rest. There's a place for that, but then there's also a place for teaching your body how to just continue moving and recovering while in motion.
You mentioned hiking. We actually had a question of someone asking, how do you track days that you use your fitness outdoors for a workout, such as mountain biking or snowboarding?
I mean, I just say go enjoy those activities, you know? Not everything needs to be logged or like count towards anything other than just the fact that you're doing it for the enjoyment of it. And that's where I would leave that.
Yeah, I guess it's like, what are you tracking it for? Do you mean like, are you trying to like be a super duper calorie counter person? Are you wondering if you could log that in Wodify somehow and like have it work toward, your stuff? I agree with Jeb. Just go enjoy it. And if you're somebody who like, I don't know, maybe you're trying to gain muscle and you're worried like when I go do super long hikes or something like that, do I need to eat more? That's the only place that I would say that maybe you would want to consider that. But anything outside of that, it's just like, yeah, if you do a super long hike and then later in the day, you're like, you know what? I feel like that was good and I don't need to do the workout today, then don't do the workout and just enjoy it.
Any plans for ruck workouts?
Oh man. So yeah, we are doing an event in Vegas where Go Ruck, the company is going to come out and they're going to help us put this on in October. And so since we have announced that, we've gotten some street parking / Go Ruck fans who have been asking about this. We don't have anything set in stone, but it's definitely something that we talked to them about creating like a rucking extra program for street parking, which I think people would really enjoy. And I think it would be super beneficial for a lot of people.
This person saw your post earlier, Miranda, about scaling back your pregnancy vlogs and not overcommitting and knowing your limits. Do you have any tips for habitual overcommitters, such as herself, how to find and maintain that balance versus holding yourself back from taking on new challenges?
This means like in life in general? Oh, I mean, I'm a pretty heavy overcommitter, as are most of us sitting here now. I would say Julian's probably the best person to answer this question, to be honest.
you have to care less. You really do, because you put this pressure on yourself to please, whether yourself or lots of other people when you tend to overcommit to too many things. I would say, and then when you tend to commit to too many things, then your effort level just declines, or you'll hold it, but only for so long before you burn out, and then you become miserable. So it's kind of like how are you setting yourself up? And if you already can acknowledge the fact that you have this issue clearly, I would say the next goal you should work on is actually committing less and do less and find how much like clarity and how much more peace you might put yourself in. And then once you kind of get a hold of that, then start putting things back on your plate. But then you know, okay, I've taken off way too much to the point where it's like also giving me anxiety. And then so it's just like another balancing act. It's like it's a long journey to figure out, but I'm hoping that you're young and you can figure it out. But you just gotta do less, to be honest. Yeah.
I'd like to add to that. Well, first off, I think it's important to know that if someone's approaching you with something, that I'll get back to you is a perfectly appropriate response, that you don't have to say yes or no in the moment. And if they're pressuring you to say your yes or no in the moment, then maybe it's something you just pass on. But as a self-proclaimed people pleaser, I do have a hard time saying no. So that's helped a lot. And then just taking some time, the time when I say I'll get back to you, between then and getting back to them, is me assessing my motives. So asking myself honestly, like, what would my motivation be to doing this if I feel like it's going to tug me in a lot of different directions or stress me out? And if it's just because I want them to like pat me on the back and say, or yeah, I don't know, whatever, get on their good side. I don't know what it is, but if I feel like it's just that, and I might be resentful if I did it, then that's when I would say no. And I think it's important, if I were asking someone to do something for me and they overcommitted and then couldn't do a good job at it or couldn't do it in the time that I wanted them to, I would have much preferred them tell me no initially so that I could then solve the problem some other way. So maybe just flip it and say, like, am I really doing my best in saying yes when I should be saying no?
I think with that post specifically for me, it was exactly what Alex is saying. It was the motivation behind it. When I was pregnant with Banner, I was super into wanting to share a lot about it to help other people because, you know, I know when you're pregnant, it's like the Google machine is your best friend and you just want to find people who are going through the same thing that you're going through. But I gave so much of my story and myself to that. I just didn't feel that it was necessary to do it again. And if you can't get out of 40 podcasts and 40 vlogs, what pregnancy is like for me, I have nothing left to give as far as that goes. And so I knew, I felt the pressure to do it again because people were asking me a lot about it. But I also feel that it's important to set an example of authenticity. And I knew it would be coming from a place of like feeling like I had to do it. And again, like resenting it and then being super annoyed when people share their opinions that I didn't ask for on those types of things. Like I just wasn't in a headspace to deal with all of that again. So
I have a question here from a woman who's 12 weeks pregnant, wondering if there's any movements that she should be avoiding.
funny you should ask. So Carolina and I just last week, we filmed a video that should be coming out this week about the answers to that exact question. We gathered 5 of the most common questions that we get about fitness during your first trimester and put together, it's like a 20-minute video answering those questions. I'll answer this one right now, kind of in short. It's very dependent on the person. It's very dependent on your pregnancy, what number pregnancy it is for you, what your fitness level was like before you started working out, or before you got pregnant, I should say. So yeah, there's no like one right answer. The basic thing that we talk about in that video is, again, going back to motivation, like why do you need to do toes to bar right now? Like, are you afraid you're going to lose them? What's your motivation behind it? And starting right now asking like, do I need to do this? Or is there an alternative where I can maintain my fitness and not risk this my safety, my long-term health / fitness, or the safety for my baby. And so yeah, that video should be out later this week.
This question is for each of you. Other than the daily workouts, what is your favorite accessory or favorite extra program?
That is such a hard question, and the answer changes regularly. I would say right now, just because the seed has been planted that I'm going to run through the program in its entirety fairly soon, is the dumbbell strength.
You're allowed to say no. Just listen to Alex.
No, I'm actually really excited for it. I love the concept. I had so much fun putting it together, and yeah, I can't wait to do it.
Julian?
I mean, it changes.
You're doing the 20 rep right now with the front squats.
Yeah, sure. Doing that. I'm in that mood right now. Doing 20 rep front squat. Get my core nice and strong. Add some bulk to my legs, some good strength. Yeah, that's it.
I think I'm on week Nicole, you could help me out with this. I think I'm on week 15 of the endurance,
You are.
which again, it's not something that I'm super good at. I've really been enjoying is a funny term, but I've really been enjoying doing it on the rower because I used to row a lot back in the day and recently not as much until I've been doing the endurance workouts. I also really love the 20 rep, and I also really love we just finished Sandbag Summer, and I love the dumbbell strength that we're gonna do. So yeah, it's again, like, pick one thing at a time and really be into it, and then do the next thing. But yeah.
Butts and guts. Hashtag Peach Gang.
Okay, one last just random rapid fire question we got from the YouTubes. Would you rather run really fast or fly really slow?
Like, define really fast and really slow.
Really fast, let's think like Flash Gordon, like, and really slow, I'm thinking 2 miles per hour.
Oh.
I'm going to go with run really fast.
I mean, you're just like floating at that point, which is cool.
For how long though?
Like, can other people float with me, or am I like floating solo?
I mean, I guess if anybody chooses
That's the question you asked.
Well, because it'd be fun to float around with others. But if I'm just floating around by myself, now it's just someone's gonna shoot me down.
I would be floating, so you would at least have me there.
Okay.
Wow. I would run fast and then fly on an airplane to fly,
Also fast.
which is
That's
great.
pretty fast.
So, and then with running fast, you can run on water. So it's really cool. You can maybe even run on the clouds.
We've definitely
You don't
I think
know.
this is based in science.
So
I don't think
if
this
we're
is
going to
this
go
is now a
comics,
cartoon.
it is. All right. Anyway.
Supersonic.
I mean, once again, I think I'm the contrarian here. I would want to fly. It's flying, dude. You're flying in the
It's like,
end. You
Jeb,
know what?
we'll see you at Starbucks in an hour and a half.
Well, here's the thing. No one's apparently thought of this. If I wanted to go fast, I could just get a jetpack or something, and I could go fast. So I could still go fast if I wanted to. I would just need some assistance.
Also, these aren't the only things you can do forever. Like, you could also walk to Starbucks.
I could, or drive, take an airplane.
He's floating by himself.
Yeah.
Okay, and then lastly, what is your guilty pleasure? Whether that be a TV show, a singer, a whatever it might be, something you're slightly embarrassed about as your guilty pleasure.
You just made I mean, this isn't really a guilty pleasure. I feel like it's pretty popular, but you made a post yesterday about Harry Potter.
Yeah, I don't feel guilty about that at all, though.
No.
I mean, I don't know.
TikTok?
I do sometimes feel guilty about TikTok. Yeah, sure, I'll go with that.
I feel like I have to like admit this like every single time somehow, but I do watch really dumb shows on Netflix. Right now, I'm not so guilty about it. Aki's behind the camera over here. She's gonna appreciate this one. I've been watching Glow Up season 3, and it's like a
So
makeup
good.
show.
So good.
Where I feel like that's actually like watching some talented artists. But I do go down the rabbit hole of some of the like dating shows. I couldn't get into the one. What was the one that we were talking about where they wear like full prosthetics and they go on dates?
Oh,
I couldn't do it.
I watched like 3 episodes. You're right. It's not good.
It's like no, so I couldn't do that one. So I do have standards. They're just pretty low.
I totally forgot, and I'm so ashamed of this, but I did read all the Twilight books.
I did too.
and-
Yeah.
And I really liked it too.
But I was also
so-
like young when I did that.
yeah, same.
Oh, okay. Well,
Julian?
I can get down with watching a lot of like DC or Marvel cartoon stuff, which but that's also like I met some cool people through that. Like the tattoo place that we go, I'm able to connect with the tattoo artists. You can have good conversations. And there's just more people that are into comics than let up, for sure. Like Salvi's a super freaking comic nerd. Everybody. Yeah,
when I went into Julian's bedroom when we were first dating,
Oh, my.
the amount of like cartoonish like toys and stuff that he had was a little off-putting.
Well, they were collectibles.
Collectible.
They don't even make them anymore. They're like the Vinylmations. They are ridiculous, but now they actually serve as Christmas ornaments.
Yeah, we do.
So
well, the boys have ruined most of
I
them.
didn't
but-
use that as a reasoning for having them at the time, but now I can justify it because actually they've paid off, because it's like a lot of the characters that Knox now knows, and we don't ever have to buy ornaments really again, because you just load them up on the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Makes sense. Jeb?
I feel like I've reached a point in my life where I'm not really guilty about anything. I just kind of own it, like tight, short pants and things like that. But I would say, okay, in terms of shows, I definitely got way into Love is Blind.
Yes.
And several years back, I got really into Vampire Diaries.
No.
Yeah, a
Oh
couple
my goodness.
CW shows. Yeah, it was.
The Twilight, basically.
Oh wow, that's a guilty
But it's
pleasure
not
for
as
It's
sure.
good.
really
That's
good. If you
true.
start watching it, you're not going to be able to stop. Also, Selena Gomez.
Oh, okay.
Whoa.
Womp womp.
Took a turn.
Really?
Dude,
Like,
she has a
so
couple
upset right now.
bangers, man.
Yeah, I know, but that's because she's been aided by like some of the like Kygo or whatever his name is, and yeah, she's getting the assist.
I'm not talking about Selena Gomez, the individual. I'm talking about Selena Gomez, the brand.
What else is she
The
branding?
artist.
As an artist. There's a whole team behind her. There's a whole team behind all of them. Taylor?
Okay.
He's a big Taylor fan.
I'm really excited
is
for
happening?
No,
Bachelor.
I was a big Taylor fan, and then she
yeah,
like
not-
fell off
also-
the rails
also
after
not
like
it.
2 albums ago.
Yes.
After Red came out, just like ugh, I just couldn't follow her anymore.
Yeah, I'm saying like 2000, I don't know, 2008 Selena. Was she around then? 2008, 2012, somewhere around there.
Can we clip this, Selby? We're gonna need this clip. I'm super excited for Bachelor in Paradise to start, which I think it started yesterday. So I'll definitely watch that train wreck. You already gave yours.
I gave mine already. Oh, wrapping it up. Oh, great. This is about caring less. So thank you guys so much. We'll check with you guys later. We got to go. We got to get back with our lives. I hope our questions or our answers helped answer you guys' questions. 2 weeks, right?
Yes,
For the next
yes.
episode. Subscribe, like, share with somebody, and bye.
Bye.